Everyday Resonance does not provide psychotherapy or medical services and is not a substitute for these services. If you have or may have a psychological or medical condition, please see a licensed professional.
Hello, everybody. Wow. Welcome to another episode of Everyday Resonance. So grateful that you're joining us and that this audience is just growing every day. People coming to really do what we do here on Everyday Resonance, which is really look deeply inside of ourselves. We really look at ourselves and look at how are we bringing ourselves into the world from our thoughts, our emotions, our intentions, and then really being mindful of that, being conscious of that, and impacting that really through our choices, through our actions, and then that, of course, impacts how the world brings itself to us. So grateful to have you here, and grateful for you, all those that have been interacting with the show. And so today is a really awesome show. I think a lot of y'all have been looking forward to it. We're introducing our co-host that's filling in for Priya. And I say y'all have been looking forward to it because she's just really an amazing person that helps so many people, I like to say, get out of the way of themselves. But just a little more, Priya is in India for the next couple months. She's really going deep into her own process and practice and depth. And so we chose to have a co-host. She and I talked about it, and she wants to really sink into that experience. So Elizabeth de Morais is here with us, and I'm going to go ahead and introduce her now, and then we're going to bring her in. So Elizabeth is an international certified transformational coach, and we call her a confidence and success catalyst. She helps women achieve their greatest goals and get out of the way of themselves in life and business. Her gift is to help people master the art of being their fully expressed and confident self while unleashing their unique inner and outer stylish, what she calls it factor. So really rising up to a higher level of bringing ourselves in the world. She combines her multi-talents of deep inner transformative work along with her love and impressive experience of all things performing, fashion, personal branding, and she brings an incredibly unique and holistic approach that sounds very unique and holistic to transforming the whole woman, both from the inside out and the outside in, and into the exquisite manifestation of self her clients have been waiting to unleash to the world so that they can live their purpose and passion, guided by an inner knowing with an outer it factor, rather than being dictated from outside forces. So I want to welcome Elizabeth to the show. And hey, Elizabeth, look at this. Here she is.
Hey.
Thank you. I'm so grateful. I'm just genuinely grateful to have you here. Filling in for Priya. Both on the we had Elizabeth as a guest on the last show, and she and Priya have had a really budding connection, relationship.
She's my soul sister, I think.
Soul sister. She's
Yes.
my soul sister too.
Hey!
And that's,
Okay,
I think, maybe one of the
soul
places we
sister,
could,
brother.
that's right. And so, we had you on as a guest. And there was just really, really aligned resonance, I think, in that
so.
process. And we knew Priya was leaving, and it just flowed very naturally and beautifully from that process. And so, Elizabeth, I'd love to start with asking, why are you excited? This has been such an exciting process of welcoming you to be the co-host now. So why are you excited to be on Everyday Resonance?
Well, one of the reasons that I'm so excited about this is just how it has unfolded in terms of it. We just stepped into this, and we're following our intuition, following how things should unfold and connect. We kept open to what can happen, right? We all raised our resonance, our energy, right? Our vibration. And then that's what happened. Like these connections came together. And so I love being in the middle of that, in a sense, manifestation, right? And in terms of like really why I'm wanting to be a part of this is I love the conversation that you all are starting with this show, and to be a part of that, to help expand it, to learn from it. I know that last week when I was here during my interview as a guest, you all stretched me, and I loved being, in a sense, being put on the spot to go, this is what I believe in, and this is how I want to articulate it, and then how you were able then to bring it all together at another level as well. And so that's what I'm excited about bringing out to the world in terms of our audience during this time together, and just seeing where it flows. as well.
Yeah, and so you bring up so many items that I'm inspired by, and I want to share that this show is going to be about Elizabeth and I really diving into what it means, revisiting what it means to practice resonance, to integrate resonance in our life, what inspires us in the face of this journey of life of unfolding in alignment with our greatest impact in the world, really. And so you brought up having conversations.
Yes.
And, I want to start that with, bringing in one of my inspirations of working with you on this is, throughout my life and my career per se, I've been really fortunate to be influenced by people that really change lives, that have great impact on, and often it's with other people that are influential per se. It might be working with a trainer that works with, a professional athletic, like a team, whatever, professional team, or it might be working with someone that teaches, people in the Senate how to present themselves effectively or something to that effect. And I find that, that I get to be influenced by people that have such really, I guess, honed wisdom and honed ways of bringing this information forward. And so Elizabeth, she brings in professional related wisdom, but she also brings in deep spiritual related, honed, sharpened wisdom as it relates to, how we can best bring ourselves into the world. What is our it factor, that sort of thing. And Elizabeth, one of the things I most resonated with, and I want to start with this, is in the show.
Too.
In the show. Wow, we'll see. I'm not sure.
Oh no,
I've been doing this a little bit longer than you
have. You have.
So in the show, Elizabeth mentioned that, what she does, one of the first things she would do, I said, if a new client came to you, what would you do? What's the first thing you do? She mentioned that her first advice or her first guidance in working with them would be to ask them to go on a fast of external stimulus. And that sounds like that happens a lot. People think about going on a social media fast, that sort of thing. But in this case, the reason is specifically so we stop looking externally for fulfillment, for our inner fulfillment, for what it means to be happy, for what it means to be living our best life. So that touched me. And then the other part of that is then being able to, once we've gone on this fast, and in this case, working with Elizabeth with guidance, as we've gone on this fast of seeking external stimulus for our internal truth, then being able to listen internally. And to me, that's such an advanced thing, is learning to listen internally. It's something that's taken me a whole lifetime of learning, of healing and learning, that I'm being inspired now by people like Elizabeth who are bringing it in a more and more efficient way. And so we cut out this external grasping for our truth, and we look inward and start to be able to hear ourselves, and also our connection to our higher source. Some people have ways of looking at God or that sort of thing, and of course that's all welcome here, however you see that. But it's really learning to tune out this attachment to an outside stimulus to find myself, and then to come inward. So let's see. I think I introduced that pretty well,
Yes,
right?
you did.
That was pretty thorough.
I need to write that down.
That was pretty well. It's recorded.
Just like
we're on
last week.
Facebook Live, so if I didn't do a good job, it'd still be written down.
I'd be able to figure it.
That's
I get
right.
it, right.
I'm
That was
sure
perfect.
you-
Again, like last week, I was like, okay, I'm done. Let's go.
Yeah.
No,
So
but-
tell us more about that process.
Definitely. Well, the thing is that so many times we look, like Daniel said, we look for the outside for meaning, but also for who we are, what our identity is, right? And so, when we do that, we're also comparing ourselves so much to other people, other experiences that they're having, and we instantly go into shutdown mode. Right, and then we're not living our true lives. And so, by getting rid of all of not only the social media fast, but also just to stop being, in a sense, addicted to outside people, in terms of needing their validation, needing their opinion about what inside as to be true. Just as a simple example, I've seen people post online, hey, I'm really going out of my comfort zone, and I'm going to this event, and I have these 2 dresses that I'm thinking about wearing. They both take me out of my comfort zone, but which one should I wear? And which one looks better? And they do 2 pictures, which is great to do, but at the same time, I just want to reach out to them and say, you know which one you really resonate with. It's probably that one that might take you even a little bit further over out of your comfort zone, but so start really listening. That's just one simple example,
That's
right?
great.
But deep down inside which one you want. And the thing is, we get so fearful of what people are going to say, what people are going to think about us. Are they going to make fun of us? Whatever it is. So we keep ourselves contained. And for me, what I do with my clients is to really help them stop worrying about that, which is especially for we women. I don't know how it is with men so much, since I'm a woman myself and I work with women, but time and time again, when I say, let's get to the really deep nitty gritty stuff of why you're holding yourself back. And I'm afraid of what people are going to say to me or about me. And if we can let go of that attachment, think about what you can create and what you can pull out into the world. And it is then being able to slough that off, then be able to connect with those internal nudges, those intuitive hits, those what I call divine downloads, and then act on them. And then when you do that, then you start just step by step being able to step into the life that you were created for and not have to wait for anyone else to tell you what to do. And so that's the work. And it's exciting when you step into that. That's why I said what I said at the beginning in terms of why I'm excited about this. That's exactly what happened for all three of us in the process of coming to this point. We didn't go, I didn't get scared and not even put out the energy that I might be available to this, right? Y'all didn't shut down and go, well, we just don't know what we're going to do. We got to figure it out. We'll see what we can do. We all we were open enough to then listen to that intuitive nudge and go, let's act on it. And then go, well, what do you think? Well, what do you think? It feels perfect. It feels great. And so what if every day you were able to live like that? And you can't if you are instantly first thing in the morning looking at social media, emails on everyone else's agenda. It's important to really go in first, be able to listen, have gratitude, get rid of your frustrations, like what you're worried about, write it down, and then just step into it.
Yeah, it's really a reorientation.
Or a recalibration.
Reorientation, recalibration. To me, just that alone, that information can really transform us. We were talking with a friend of Elizabeth's outside in the green room here. And, I asked her, she also transforms lives in similar ways that we're referring to. And I said, how long would you say it takes for someone to go from this, this orientation towards suffering and towards self-judgment and that sort of thing to this ability to start to, live life where it's less, let's say, controlled by that or less influenced by that? And she said, right when they get it, 1 second. And I brought up earlier, to me, it's been a lifetime of healing, of learning, that sort of thing. But there were points in that experience that basically were more immediate. And to me, this information seems like information that could be deeply transforming. Someone hearing, maybe in the past we thought I should stay away from social media because it could be depressing, or I'm constantly having FOMO, or we all know FOMO, or that sort of thing. But in this case, the concept of reorienting ourselves generally, we are not going to find it outside of ourselves, period. It does not come from there. And that's been actually a huge healing and growth process that I'm currently in right now in my own life, learning that, what I thought came from an external source, now I'm starting to cultivate internally. And it's a reorientation of where I'm finding this this life and this love that I'm bringing into the world now, and less and less believing this idea that I'll find it through things or other people or status or whatever that might be. Although all that stuff is a beautiful part of this journey and this dance. So that's pretty cool. So go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say too that if we're always looking on the outside, we are never. We're doing so out of lack because we're looking for outside. Things to fulfill us. We get into relationships and, he fills my other half, he's my better half, or where I'm lacking, he fulfills. But if we're not full people, then we're then connecting with others, or looking outside of ourselves where like I said, with a sense of lack that something's missing inside. Whereas how wonderful is it when we can move from the inside, be full. Of course, we all have our, we're weaker in some areas, but that we don't go, I'm going to rely on that person to fulfill me. right? That I can fulfill myself and, the best I can. Now let's create something together instead of, well, you didn't fulfill that. Let me start nagging at you. Let me start getting depressed or, disappointed in you, because you're putting that relationship, that responsibility on that other person, or waiting, or spending extra money, like, well, maybe if I buy this thing, it'll make me feel better. If I buy that purse, we get a little hit of adrenaline, but then, then what? It's, you're carrying a purse, great, but you're still not internally in alignment and moving from that place. And when you do, like, it's an amazing place. Like yourself, I'm going through that same transformation. I think it's a lifetime of transformation, right? And, but there's an element of rediscovery and reclaiming and owning that inner knowing. And that's where you can then create so much beauty.
Yeah, and I would say, inner knowing, and then I'd also say inner resonance. So in a way, like how we're bringing ourselves into the world, are we looking externally for, our source of wholeness? Well, that would be how we're resonating in the world. So we might attract others that are coming and that, have a similar pattern that's being attracted to what we're bringing per se. And it's reminding me of, this methodology that Priya and I bring in from time to time, which is awareness, healing, and then alignment. And so this idea of awareness in the face of what we're referring to, I'd say this is the awareness that I'm responsible for my inner experience, my thoughts, my emotions, my what goes on internally, my intentions. There are exceptions to that sometimes when people are imposing themselves in certain ways. But in this case, we're talking about kind of day-to-day awareness. And then, once I become aware of this internal process. So I'm bringing in now, Elizabeth, this concept of, actually these three concepts: awareness, healing, alignment. But this first idea of becoming now aware of I'm the source of my own love, joy, sensation, that sometimes equates to these things. Or negative. And so taking responsibility for that. And once I become aware, then I believe I can identify the areas that I'm challenged, where I'm stuck. And that's a part of this modality, this AHA method or, framework. So once I'm aware, then I can then the healing comes in. So I can start seeking sources of healing. And if it's something deeply psychologically impacting, then the therapist per se. If it's something that, isn't quite deeply trauma-based, a coach or a guide or a book or a friend. So there's all sorts of allies we can start to amass. Everyday Resonance is a source of really great information on this path of healing. Elizabeth's practice my practice is mindfulness meditation. So we've come from this awareness into this space of healing. And so when someone's on their path of healing, where does that take you, Elizabeth? What are some of your thoughts on this path of working on my inner resonance through healing so I can get out of my own way even better?
Definitely.
Where do you go with that?
Well, the first thing that pops into my mind is really becoming aware of those thoughts that are coming on into your mind that are, guiding and running the show so much and in your life. And 90 to 95% of what we think is in our subconscious. This is exactly the same things that we're thinking today. We thought yesterday, we thought the day before, and we thought the day before. And so becoming aware, then in that process of becoming aware, and then within the process of healing comes okay, how do I want to shift these thoughts? How can I then feel the thoughts and then take action and then create new neural pathways in the mind? I love science, love all of that. And so by so we're gonna have good conversations. That I think that's part of the healing, is that recalibration. And what I love about putting the science aspect into it is that it's like, oh, that's all I have to do. Like, that if I do this, it will happen, rather than just thinking, well, let me have my willpower and try to heal. And, there's, that you then can just shift and surrender into the process, because that it will work. And so that's a big part.
That's reminding me of, this idea of new neural pathways. I do a lot of mindfulness, and that comes in a fair amount, especially, gratitude is often considered an aspect of mindfulness. Huge. So this concept that Elizabeth's bringing in of new neural pathways, to me, that's in my path what started making this work more tangible than kind of airy-fairy or, out there per se. So this this fact, it was something that really deeply impacted me. One of in the most way I'd say out of what I learned, which is I get really good at what I choose to think about. So most of us are raised being really good at, let's say, finding things to complain about, because we're, in a sense, trying to survive. We're often looking for the things that are wrong. We're good at looking for the things that are wrong, and that creates the neural pathways. It's also evident in addiction. People get really good at, of course, choosing a substance. The mind gets strengthened in the face of the choice of yes to that substance in the face of addiction. Well, we also have the ability to reseed our mind, to put new seeds in our mind as we choose. And it's literally scientifically proven that over time it creates neural pathways. So in the face of gratitude, if I begin to seed in gratitude, this is one, what we're talking about now maybe is one modality of healing. These modalities of healing that allow us to reorient or shift the way that we're thinking. And so bringing in gratitude on a regular basis over time basically creates new neural pathways that, in my experience in life, has actually eclipsed a lot of the negative thought forms. It wasn't the end all to resolve, to kind of get through them fully, but it was a major aspect. So these new neural pathways that were being formed around gratitude helped me to rebalance in the face of maybe self-criticism or negative thought patterns that were coming through. So we're now in this healing path of resonance in a way. How do we impact our resonance in a meaningful way and through choice? And so this idea of creating new neural pathways around thought forms that actually serve us, I'd say, is extremely powerful. And Elizabeth just brought that in. So
and I do love the element of gratitude, because when you do that, you open yourself up for receiving. So many times I know in my own life, I've spent so much time in resistance, like fearful of certain things, but also fearful of even the good things that come, from these thoughts that come that I'm not worthy, or I don't, I shouldn't get that, or shouldn't want that, or whatever. But the thing is that when you are in gratitude, you then again, you open yourself up to receiving. And when you are in receiving, then so much can flood to you, fill you up. And then, yes, those negative thoughts do go away, because then you can just step into your purpose. And one thing that I love having my clients do is when they're journaling, and not just write, I'm grateful for, like to actually write thank you notes for certain things that you are envisioning happening in your life. Like, if I, as an example, someone might be have a terminal illness, for example, or some type of illness, writing it out, saying, thank you so much that I've been healed, that I'm able to walk again, or whatever it is. And you feel that, like when when you write a thank you note, it's because you've received something that you're full of gratitude for. You feel it, you remember it, and you send it. You are in awareness of the gratitude that you're giving to that person that gave it to you, right? So what if you did that while you haven't even received it yet, right? And so then you start feeling into it, and then you get into a mode of, I'm grateful for everything that I have, even the negative things. I always tell people, especially my kids, when something bad happens, I say, this is happening for you, not against you. What can we learn from this? Instead of like, oh yeah, everything's not, nothing's good, like to say, no, there's an opportunity here. There's something here that we can learn from. Yeah, it sucks. Yeah, we can have negative thoughts about things, but if we can shift it and be grateful, then you'll start sensing that you have, a pep in your step, and you go, it's kind of quiet. Like my brain is like, those negative thoughts are not there, because the thing is that you will never receive anything else in your life until you're grateful for what you have. Like if you can't take care of what you have, yes, you will get things in your life, but I mean, like, if you can't take care of what you have right here, why are you going to get more?
Well, Elizabeth, you are inspiring me. So, okay, so let's see. So you said a lot about, this focusing on like what sucks in life, or, this idea that you cannot receive, without opening up to this receptive aspect of, let's say, gratitude in this case that we're talking about. I would say if we receive in the face of, our mind being focused on the negative, we will still apply the negative to what we just received again.
Completely.
So I would say, I just bought a new car. And in the process of that, I'm remembering other times when I've bought a car where it was like banging my head up against the wall. It's like, is it ever going to come? What's going on? Why hasn't it come yet? Being led down these wrong paths. And then finally, the thing that I wanted comes. And then actually, thinking about it, then my mind starts to be applied to it being perfect in certain ways. And then maybe it might get scratched or something like that. And the mind starts to focus on that. So that's a story of the mind, kind of going upstream in a sense, looking at kind of all the things that aren't working in the path. Well, in this recent scenario, I surrendered and allowed it to flow. And what ended up unfolding was a lot of really strong negotiation, a lot of actually connecting with these salespeople as people, making actually some good friendships at the dealership. Still friends with the person that ended up selling me the car I purchased. But basically, it led to me, through the process of not finding the car I wanted, getting back on in terms of negotiating, so getting back on in step with that, learning about extended warranty options, dealing with the financing, and by the time that perfect car came into place, everything was lined up for me to go in there, be strong in my negotiation, and have everything ready to roll. So in this phase where this is kind of the main point of what I'm sharing, and it's been one of my biggest lessons lately, very transformational for me in my life. Imagine if there's a sign on the wall that says life sucks. And I'm just simply going back to that sign all the time. I'm staring at the sign that says life sucks. Life sucks. Life sucks. I look here, there's a new car. I look at the sign that says life sucks. I'm focusing on that. Well, let's say then I'm looking at that sign, and then I choose to kind of bring myself back and start to look around. And I see, wow, actually around this wall, maybe I'm standing outside, there's a blue sky, and there's the grass around me. And there's still this imprint that maybe tells me a little bit that life sucks, but I'm seeing everything else. And in the face of this beautiful miracle that's unfolding that we call life, this amazing thing that's unfolding in front of us, am I going to keep choosing to look at that sign on the wall, or am I going to choose to expand my vision and take in all of this around me and allow for it to unfold in the face of all the variables that are coming to me, and be receptive to all the things that are coming in, instead of me choosing to be, oh, wow, this is here, life sucks. This is here, life sucks. So
I do want to say something to
oh,
that
I
too.
mean, that's go for it.
All right. So yes, it's all about what you focus in on and what you tell yourself, and how you then what sunglasses you then have. Like, what is the lens that you're looking through? And so if you choose to look at things from a positive way, and then I love what you said about stepping into the flow, or how did you say, like into the river?
Surrendering.
Yeah,
And,
surrendering.
going downstream.
Going
instead of
downstream. That's what it was.
upstream.
In my brain, I went
Yeah.
river, but surrendering into that. And this is what when I used to teach and choreograph dance, and I was working with professional performers, and I was teaching them, like, how do you really connect with people, how your audience and with each other. And one of the things is to let go of control. Sometimes we like, it has to be this way and that way and that way, because in my brain that's how I'll be able to work with things and be the most successful. And I take that into life. Like, if you can let go of control, of having to make sure everything is in a certain way, and you then have ultimate control. So if you let go of control, you have, in terms of, not having to hold on to everything, but you just go with that flow, go into the river and go, downstream. Everything is accessible to you then, but you have to have that mindset with it in terms of, okay, I can get curious here in life, and and it actually can be good. And so let me flow with it and be aware, like we mentioned, just being open and aware of what can come to you, and then just step into it and things flow. And that's what I love about this conversation we're having, because it really is about going with the flow, seeing what happens. It doesn't mean just give up and like lie down in the river, right? It's about being present, but going with that flow and listening. And so that you can then see all the miracles that happen. Why do we hold on to like those few little things that are going negatively in our lives, when there literally are millions of other things that we can focus in on? And when we focus in on the good things, So much goodness
Alignment,
comes.
which is the
Alignment
third
comes.
letter. So awareness, healing, and then alignment, which I feel so aligned, Elizabeth, with you, being on the
and me
show
with you,
together. So very grateful that you're here. And I know that, let's see. So, we talked about, Elizabeth and I, really who do we feel we're talking to on the show? And of course, Priya, and I, all three of us really discussed that. And, we're really here to share information for those that are looking for healing in their own life. And that's the main reason why we're bringing everyday resonance into the world. And also very specifically, those that may have just started being on this path and are starting to hear this type of information. We're really, all three of us are very inspired by speaking to you and providing tools for you to start becoming more connected to yourself, more empowered, stronger at bringing your greatest voice in the world, and getting better at the things that are important to you. And honestly, I'd like to say from there, being more connected to the world so we can make a difference in the world, really
Most
impact the
definitely.
world.
Most definitely.
I know Elizabeth and I, in the coming days, we're going to have on speakers around, really powerful communication, a gentleman who's an excellent lawyer and mediator who, is exceptional at difficult communication with other people. And Elizabeth, I know you talked about bringing on some amazing entrepreneurs.
Yes,
that
who bring
are
mindfulness
socially
into-
conscious.
yes,
Yeah, and what are some other
Well,
inspirations?
my
and-
friend that we saw today too, I think she would be
Yeah.
amazing in terms of really being mindful in the element of healing your body. And when you've been given a diagnosis, how do you deal with that? How can you be empowered through that process? And so she's someone that I'd definitely love to bring on. But people who are bringing mindfulness into their everyday lives, and that we all can learn from.
Awesome. Well, once again, a sitting
Thank you.
ovation. I'd stand if it wouldn't throw our awesome
To you
producer,
too.
Ziggy,
And
off.
Ziggy.
Yeah. And so thank you, Ziggy. Thank you, On Air Media. We're so excited that Everyday Resonance is available on Facebook, at Everyday Resonance page, on YouTube, on, iTunes. Also, we're now on iHeartRadio, which that's really
Yes.
exciting. We're expanding and really making a difference in the world. I'm grateful to you, Elizabeth. Also, we
you.
miss Priya.
Yes, we do.
Priya's-
We love you, Priya. We know
love
you're
you,
watching.
Priya, and we're so grateful for you. And so every day, tune into yourself and really look at how am I bringing myself into the world, and what parts of myself do I want to work on so I can get better at that and get better and better, more vibrant. And then also on Wednesdays at Nude Central, tune in to Everyday Resonance. Thank you so much for joining us today.
And please do share this. If there's someone that you know that would really benefit from this, share this and share it with the world. That's what we're here for.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Elizabeth.
You're welcome.
Everyday Resonance was brought to you by Priya Patel and Sunshine Global Ventures.
To sponsor Everyday Resonance, please contact everydayresonance@gmail.com.